Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. I'm your host, Therese Tucker, and here is the messages for this week. All right, so first of all, energy-wise, we just had the new moon in Libra. It's a really interesting one. The last consecutive moons that we've had, the full moon and the new moon, have had out of aspect sub-rulers with the moon. What do I mean by that? So the full moon was in Aries. The co-ruler of that moon is Mars. The last new moon in Libra, the co-ruler is Venus. Both Mars and Venus on those respective days did not aspect with any other planet, which gives us this feeling of being outside of something. It's not quite, something's not quite gelling, which was really interesting because when it came to the channeled message that came through from the team with the new moon in Libra, they literally talked about all of us being outside of time. I'm not going to spoil it. You're going to want to hear it. That will be available on my podcast next week. So definitely tune into that message. If you were at the Spirit Circle, you heard the full thing. It feels weird. In fact, the best way I can describe it, when I was channeling the message, I was reminded of the Netflix revision of the TV show She-Ra. If you've seen that, you know what I'm talking about. They were put outside of the universe in a way, in an alternate dimension they called Despondos. It's kind of like that. And that's all I'm going to say right now. There's a reason why it's mentioned in the channeling. Definitely listen for it on the Modern Mystic Soul podcast. But let's go into what's going on this week. So there's this outlier energy. One of these things is not like the other thing, is sort of the theme of it. And we've got a lot of Pluto activation as well. And one of the Pluto placements that's going on is Pluto and Uranus are working together. When these two come together, I told you it's like TNT. It's like dynamite. Something's going to change. It's got to change. And that's what it's looking like on the personal level as well as on the global level as well. So personally, something's got to change. Now, this brings me to the message I have this week from the team. What's got to change is how you're going about things. So this is the Hanged Man in reverse. The Hanged Man in reverse represents not being willing to shift your perspective. And in this case, it's talking about how the ego has a plan and the ego is determined for that plan to come through. When that happens, we are actually blocking the divine flow of energy. And something else that's come through in many of the channelings that are available on my podcast that you can listen to is how we have been asked and we're being worked with on higher dimensional levels to show us how to integrate the ego. So it's not about killing the ego or getting rid of the ego death, all of that. This is that does happen at certain spiritual levels where you completely let go of your ego, but it's not necessary in this current point in time that you kill or let go of it. It's integrate it and understand that it is merely an aspect that serves you in moving forward in your own soul progression, your soul growth journey. It was given to you to help you feel authentic in your choices. But because the ego doesn't understand that it's not itself, that it's simply like a tool really for the soul to use, it fights against that idea that it's not in charge. It wants to be in charge. It believes it's supposed to be in charge, and it really fights for that position. And we've been guided for, millennia really, but in recent times, we're really being guided to, hey, let's integrate this, right? Think about it like a child, and we're in a car, and the ego is a child, and it wants to drive the car. That's not, especially if it's like a 2-year-old. Let's say it's 2. Your ego is like a 2-year-old trying to drive a car. That is a very unsafe condition. You're not going to get where you want to go. You're going to definitely go off track and possibly go into unsafe territory. So on a spiritual level, what they're asking is that you put that toddler back into its car seat in the back seat. So the toddler still comes with you on the journey. Your ego is still with you. It's still present and witnessing what's going on. It's just not driving the car. You want your higher self to be driving the car. That part of you can hear divine timing. It can understand what comes next. It knows how to be patient and listen and make moves when the moves are appropriate. So right now what they're saying that has to radically shift is the ego is still driving, and it's trying to drive your plans and specifically your goals and your dreams. And this is, again, going back to last week, what I talked to you about, where I got that really strong message that said, stop striving. The ego is striving. The ego is the one that believes that this thing is separate. Your dream, your goals, they're separate. They're way out there. And that you have to go reach for them. You have to do a whole bunch of things. You have to change who you are fundamentally to go get those goals. And though we do have to grow and expand to receive that energy, we don't have to strive for it. We can literally tap into it from within. So what they're trying to let us know is that this ego need to be in control is blocking us from this. So this is the Ace of Cups, and this is talking about spiritual. Look at, she's radiating. This person is twisting themselves in a pretzel, and this person is radiating that energy because the spiritual force is flowing through them, and we are being asked to radically shift the way that we are approaching things. Radically shift the way you're approaching relationships, especially right now with Libra season being active. That was a major emphasis with this new moon. We're about to shift into Scorpio season. And the mind is already there. So Mercury is already in Scorpio, as well as Mars. That was another placement. So this is about getting down to the truth of it. We're about to get into the deep-seated territory of what's really going on underneath. And part of what's really going on is this need to control it from our ego self, personality self, the part of little you, right? So the part you see here, this would be little Therese right here. And in terms of energy, of what I actually am, of everything I am, this is this very small portion of what I actually am. I like to equate that to think about your whole body being the whole energy field of you, and this pinky represents your physical body, the physical version that you can see. So out of all that could be me, this is little Therese, this experience here, right? This is trying to control something that's about soul alignment and something that's about destiny and purpose. These are big concepts. They are bigger energies. They are energies that require you to see from the 40,000 foot view, to see the whole forest, to understand it from a spiritual perspective. And the ego is just not capable of doing that. So the ego makes it about steps. It makes it about driving and pushing. It makes it about only focusing on, following a strategy or getting to an outcome. It misses things like the journey, misses alignment and allowing. It misses how you are feeling about it. Like, do you actually believe in it, or are you wanting to believe in it? Like, it misses all of that because it's so busy trying to make action happen, and it's not necessarily action that's in alignment with where you're at right now. So all of that is coming up because there's something really beautiful that is trying to come through. So it has to be radically shifted. And that's the message right now, is like, be open and awake to the idea that you have to approach things different now, especially if we're in this sort of pocket dimension, which is about this radical growth that needs to happen before the bigger things can move forward. If there's radical growth that needs to happen, then we need to approach things radically different, which is why I am really looking at how I go after goals now. Ever since, having that really profound message of stop striving, radiate. I've been really looking about how I approach goals, because I've been working with people on their goals for 9 years. I cannot believe it. But the Epic Year Workshop turns 9 this year, which is a full cycle. And at the 9th degree of a cycle, if you're in the number 9, you are in the wisdom part of the cycle. You get to look at how it all worked out, and you get to see what's working, what you would improve, and how you want to move forward. What are you going to share about this? What wisdom can you share about your experience? And I found that the system I've created, the Epic Year Workshop, is a beautiful system that does help you get into alignment. I've learned so much about when it feels right to take action and when to stop. For example, I am in a personal 9-year as well. There's not a lot of action taking right now. It's a lot about patience and contemplation and review, which if your nervous system is geared towards, I got to do something, I got to do things because that means something's happening. If I'm not doing anything, then nothing's happening. That kind of energy will shake you if you have to stop and sit and ponder it. But when you know that that's what's coming, and you recognize that, like, for example, some of the things that have happened within this year I have wanted so bad to take massive action, put things out there, and move the needle on things. And I found that my nervous system just won't support that. It won't support that, but I will have outside events that will trigger me to see, will you do it or will you relax? Because I knew what cycle I was in, I knew hands off, relax. In fact, dreams are, the most potent part of this year for me. I've met spirit guides in my dreams. I've gotten those big messages in my dreams. I've found out that I knew mathematical equations that I don't know consciously in my dreams. A lot of dream activity is happening for me this year, and I knew that because I do the work that I do inside the Epic Year Workshop, where I look at alignments, right? So that's what you will get to do. You'll get to look at your alignments. Where are you at in your personal cycles? Where's your vibration going? What is it wanting you to focus on? And when you lean into that, you get ease, so that when something like catalyst happens in your life, you know what the universe is saying. Hey, this is how you respond right now. This is the frequency that you're naturally in. So respond in this way. And in my case, that is to contemplate, meditate, and dream. That's where the work is getting done for me, versus hustle, 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 push it, put things out there, generate so many new things. In a 9 cycle, you're wrapping things up. Next year is all the new. It's all the planting of new seeds for me. So if this sounds fascinating to you, and you have been feeling that too, that the way that you're approaching things, and by the way, I'm coming at this from the angle of goals, obviously. The radical shift is for relationships. It's for your health. It's for your mindset. It's for any area in your life is being asked to radically shift. So even though I'm coming at it through the lens of goals, know that that radical shift is being asked of you in many places in your life. How you approach things, your perspective even, being asked to radically shift. But when it comes to working with your goals, and if you are a person who wants to have goals, this is something I noticed that sometimes spiritual people feel in a conundrum with. Like, why should I strive for anything if why should I go after? Why should I have a North Star if everything is within me? I hear you on that. And I've contemplated that a lot myself. And what I've heard, what I've gotten from my own inner guidance, from my team and from spirit, is that part of being here right now and having a physical experience is the act of making choices. Without making a choice, you're in entropy. Nothing happens. You need to move something forward. So there is a choice that wants to be made. Your goals are that choice. They become a North Star. So it's not that we don't choose things. You actually need to choose to get the story going, right? You're in a story of sorts right now, and you are both the writer of the story and the hero of the story. If the hero just sits there, if the writer writes nothing, the story doesn't happen. The intention right now is that you are in a story and it must progress forward. So choices must be made. However, it's how you approach those choices that are being asked to radically shift. And we're leaving the energy of striving and going into the energy of radiating. And so this year in the Epic Year Workshop, I'm calling it the Year of Integration, because we are really focusing on how to radiate from the choices that we are making, so that we are approaching our goals with a radically different energy. There's more somatic work that's being done this year, because that's the other thing I've been told is you've got to calm the body so that you can naturally put that ego in the back seat and be more open to the higher energy that's coming through you. So if this all sounds like something that would help you move into your coming year, 2026, if you would like a full year of support and to learn how to do this method, here's the link. You can go to the description below. It'll be there. If you're not sure but you want to try it out, I also created for you the Starlight Dream Lab like I talked about last week. A whole bunch of people have joined that. It's been really beautiful to see people experiencing their future self, their goal, from a place of radiating versus striving, and to think about it in a completely new way. So either way, whether you want to jump right in because you know that you are ready to build bigger goals from a radically different standpoint, or if you want to test the waters and see how it feels to approach it in a different way, I've got you. And they're both in the link below. So now what I'd like to do is go into the karma cards and hear the rest of the supporting message that the team has for us. And I've already asked my team what is the message for this week, and I've got 2 sets of answers, a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel, what is the guidance you need right now? Are you looking for the next actions to take? Or do you want to see how things resolve? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for October 23rd through October 30th. And the flavor of this reading, we've got Uranus, which is the plot twist planet. If anybody's going to ask us to change, it's going to be this one. In the sign of Leo, which is about activating your sovereignty, your creativity, like coming from the heart center. In the 6th house, which is the house of service to others, and it also talks about the balance between taking care of yourself and taking care of other people. All right, for those who are choosing action, your physical action at this time is to stir up the situation using leadership as a full-time job. This really is a self-led effort. So this is one of those choice points. So like I was talking about earlier, we have to make choices. This is a choice point. As much as you may get messages of guidance from around you, no one can do this for you, right? No one can get you to radically shift. The opportunity to radically shift is here. Can you make the choice to stay the same? Absolutely. But what you're going to find when you do that is it feels like you stagnate even more or even faster maybe than in previous times, because we're in a massive growth cycle. So when you're seeing everyone massively grow and you're not, that's going to feel like increased or rapid stagnation. So this is about you going, I can absolutely radically shift this. I don't have to know what that looks like yet. I don't have to know what it looks like. I just need to know, do I accept the mission to radically shift? If I do, then I'm saying I can radically shift. I can radically shift my approach to, for example, for me, how I approach goals, radically shift it, right? If it's relationships, I can radically shift how instead of reacting, I can radically shift into responding. If it's my perspective, I can radically shift that as well. I can see something new that will show me a new angle in which I can look at something. So that's for us. It's a full-time job, meaning that we have to keep choosing that until it's in the body, right? So this is about, again, unconscious, or rather conscious incompetence, meaning I know I don't know how yet. So I know that when I initially say, okay, I'm going to, instead of reacting here, I'm going to respond. That's my radical shift choice that I'm going to make. I am taking the lead on that. I know that until I've done it enough, I will have to consciously choose it again and again, right? So if a catalyst comes up, a negative catalyst comes up that I would naturally react to, but I'm radically shifting into response, I might have my first initial reaction and wait. I don't have to overreact to that. I can emotionally detach from that for a moment and look at it from a bigger perspective and see if there's anything different that I'm seeing here? Can I see this from a different point of view? Initially, if I haven't practiced that yet, it's going to feel like effort. And I'm going to have to consciously keep choosing it. That's the full-time job part. At some point, when I've done it enough, I will move from consciously incompetent into unconscious competence. And that means it's in my body now. It's in my physiology. It's in my mindset. My neurology have all shifted to now, when a negative catalyst appears, instead of reacting, I naturally respond. I step back and I go, what can I see about the situation that's more than just what's right in front of me? Is there some other perspective to look at this from? When I've done it enough, I will naturally shift into doing it automatically. Right now, they're saying it's effort. So every time we're presented, we're going to have to think about, what am I radically shifting to? Mental action at this time: be open to new ideas about the creativeness of serving. What I'm hearing from them is this radical shift that they're asking us to address on the personal level. They want you to understand that it affects the collective as well. The more of us who do something different, hopefully a positive difference, but even just different than what we're currently doing, shifts the vibration of the whole. They're showing me, I don't even know how to describe what it looks like. There's like some art installations that you see where it's like they're like little tiles, and if you flip them one way, the design, it's like those sequins, right, with the different colors. So if you pet the sequins one way, it's all silver, and if you run your hand the other way, they're all blue or something like that. It's just talking about how every one of us that makes this little shift, the whole collective shifts. And as the whole collective shifts, we are, again, moving through timelines. So many timelines right now. So many that we're actually in a sub-dimension. Again, wait for that channeling to come out, because it's coming. But we're in this other dimension where we get time to flip through some ideas here. It's like we're flipping through dimensions, going, not that one, not that one, not that one, this one, right? And how are we doing that? We're doing that with these radical shifts. So every little sequin that shifts the bigger picture, right? It changes what we're seeing. That's what's going on right now. So what they want you to understand is that your individual choice is actually an act of service to something larger. It always has been. But the more conscious we are about the choice, the stronger the impact on the collective. Our unconscious choices also impact the collective. And I think enough unconscious choices can detrimentally, obviously, impact the collective. When we're making strong conscious choices, though, that has an interesting impact on the collective that seems to have a far deeper root to it. It affects it in a different way. And so this period of radical shifting is consciousness driven. It's got to come from a conscious choice that you're making. That's why leadership is involved, that you must be in charge of this. You must consciously choose to shift it. Can't be something that's just kind of happening in the background. It's a choice, conscious choice that we're making. This has an impact on the collective that I don't know that we understand how different an unconscious choice affects our collective versus a conscious choice. It is much more potent on the collective. Physical action at this time: invent a way to do what you want to do and do it a little at a time. So when I hear this, invent a way, always this means to be inspired. To be inspired in an invention, something that hasn't been created before, that we are coming up with on the spot. That is a direct result of inspiration, which means to be inspirited, which means spirit source is working through you. So let source work through you to help you do what you want. Remember the picture I showed you before, radiate. That's radiating energy. It's coming from inside of you and radiating out of you. The impulse, the inspiration, that is coming from deep within, and it is showing you the path forward. This inspiration, they're saying do it a little bit at a time. It means it can come in incremental bites right now. Like, for example, with me, a lot of it's coming in dreams. It's like, here's a bite, tonight we'll work on this, tonight you get to learn about that. That's how it's happening right now. So if we're thinking we have to do it all in one go and it has to be this massive change in your life, that's not sustainable, and your nervous system can't hold that. It's always better to do a little shift at a time. Starlight Dream Lab, for example, would help you see that in regards to living the life you desire to live. It teaches you the little things. Just make this little shift here. Try it like that. And it's these little shifts that have this greater impact. And those little shifts are being inspired to come in. It will help you change or create a new way to do something. All right, so now let's look at outcomes with Uranus in Leo in the 6th house of work and service. The spiritual outcome at this time is an unusual example of self-confidence to create service to others. I'm just laughing because, like, what's unusual? I think it's unusual maybe to you. It will feel foreign in a way because, again, if you have done something the same way for so long, that is already an unconscious system running in you. I mean, you don't have to think about it anymore. It just runs. So when we start introducing a conscious shift anywhere in our life, it feels like we're suddenly out of sync with what we know. It's like, I don't know, it reminds me of the feeling I'm getting there, giving me is like when you go roller skating or ice skating and you put on those rental shoes or bowling, that feeling you get when you're like, these shoes are not mine. This is like, you get used to them, especially when you're doing the activity, because after a while, it's like the activity is more exciting than how awkward it feels to wear rental shoes. That's the feeling I'm getting here, is like initially when we consciously make a radical shift, and these are little bite-sized constant shifts that we can make. At first, it feels like a pair of rental shoes. Like, you're like, this is not mine. That's not how I do it. And that's literally happened to me recently while going through, like, there was something I was being presented, and my old emotional reaction would have been to get really upset with it. Just be so mad. And I remember the upset energy, the old reaction wasn't coming because I had been practicing this constant shifting and shifting my nervous system. And that was the day I felt it take hold, where because I'd been practicing it so much, when I was presented with the catalyst about will you react or respond, I was responding, but I was waiting for the reaction. Like, I was just like, where's my shoes? Like, this doesn't feel like me, but it was. And that was in that moment that I'm like, holy crap, I did it. Like, I literally shifted this. And there is this sort of feeling of like, this is weird and in a good way, but in a good way. Like I said, you're about to go roller skating. You're about to go ice skating. You're about to bowl. This is fun. This is a good thing, but it feels weird. And it's just that little sensory moment that you get where you're just like, oh, this is odd. But it's so interesting when you're expecting yourself to react, because that's just how you've always approached a certain catalyst, and it doesn't happen. You're like, I could do that. That was the thought I had. I could do that. And there was a part of me that was almost trying to see if I could manufacture it. And it didn't come up. And I just remember it kind of took me out of the situation a little bit, and I went into a more meditative space, because I'm like, what is this? This is a new space. Ultimately, it felt really good. But initially, it also felt weird. And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this. Mental outcome at this time, a different way of looking at taking a chance on what is good for us. All right. What they're reminding me is, like, think about things that are really good for you, like eating healthier, or what was it? Something, trying to think. I don't love zucchini. I want to eat a lot more vegetables. I just, certain vegetables are like in heavy rotation in my life, and there are other vegetables where it's like I want to introduce them, but every way I've tried them, I'm like, ugh. And zucchini is one of those vegetables. I don't like the texture of it when it was cooked. We'd saute it a lot, and it just didn't work for me. Now I'm hoping that people will like jump in the comments with all their like zucchini wonderful ideas, and yes, I've made them into like muffins and stuff, and I like that. So it's not like I hate zucchini. I just didn't like the only way I knew how to cook them in a more savory way. And so my husband, he's like always trying to figure out like, okay, how do I get this in there? Because I know like we should get more of different variety of vegetables. So he brings home zucchini, and I'm like, oh my God, not again. But he had a plan, right? He was like, I'm going to make these vegetable spring rolls, and he got these spring roll wraps, which we had a mishap with, but whatever. And, he made delicious, Asian inspired, like, spring roll stuffing with these zucchini, like julienne zucchini, and we had pickled carrot and daikon radish and all that stuff, and it was actually so delicious. I was like, please make that again. That whole experience is coming up for me because it says it's a different way of looking at taking a chance on what is good for us. Like that zucchini thing, I had resistance to it when he told me zucchini. It was like my heart sank, and I'm like, really? No, like there's anything else we could make. And he was like, trust me, I have a plan. And I just remember thinking like, okay, I don't know what I don't know. And that was the thought that helped me move. I don't know what I don't know. I'm assuming I'm not going to like it because of past experiences, but what if I do? And that's what it's asking for us to do right now. You might have an assumption about shifting and what you think that means and what you think the outcome is going to be. But they're asking us to remember, you don't know what you don't know. So often our ego gets in the way and says, no, I know. It's like when you're trying to feed food to little kids that they're like not used to. Like my son will not eat soup. I just think he hasn't found the right soup that he likes. But everybody else in the family loves eating soup. He won't eat soup. And he's convinced he doesn't like it. And I just know it's one of those things where you're like, as a parent, you're like, you don't know yet. You think you don't like it, but you actually don't know. There have been plenty of instances where he was introduced to something, and when he was introduced to it in a way that he liked it, suddenly it was enjoyable, right? And it's that same energy here. Your ego might look at these radical shifts that it's time to make, and say, well, that's not going to work for me. That's not, I've tried that in the past and it didn't take. And so therefore I'm not going to shift again. We're approaching something different this time. We don't know what we don't know. There are elements that have shifted. Either you've grown since then, or there's a new approach to it that you could try. There's something available to you now that would kind of guarantee a different outcome than you've had before. But we really do have to get out of our own way. We have to remind ourselves we don't know what we don't know. Not until we've tried it. You got to take a chance on it. Take a chance on what is good for you. If radically shifting in some way, if radically shifting around your goals would be good for you, try it, right? Just be willing to see it different. That maybe there's a different outcome. Something has shifted and changed that you need to factor in and give it a chance. Physical outcome at this time, an unexpected change resulting from the impressiveness of your work. This is it right here. You don't know what you don't know. Something is going to come out of this. Impressiveness meaning like the effort you're putting into it here. Remember, right now we are consciously incompetent of the shift we're making, whatever that is. Until we've practiced it enough, we have to put effort in. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm approaching this differently. Oh yeah, I'm willing to look at zucchini in a new way, right? Or soup or whatever it is. Oh yeah. Okay, right. I want to shut down here, but I'm going to stay open because I want to radically shift. Instead of shutting down emotionally, I'm going to lean into my emotions. Oh my God, that feels awkward. Ooh, like, I don't know if I like that yet. That's all part of it, and it's conscious effort. That's impressive work to do. It is impressive. It really is impressive when you can be in a state like that, where you're like, usually I run away, this time I'm going to face it. That is impressive, and anytime you do that for yourself, please give yourself credit. That requires incredible courage in yourself, a willingness to overcome a unconscious fear you might be having, and go, no, I know what would be good for me would be to lean in here. I know what would be good for me is to face it, or to stay calm, or to relax and trust the universe rather than force things. I know that would be good for me. The impulse is to run, hide, force, right? But I am consciously going, no, relax, allow, be here, let it in. That's impressive work. So something will shift from that. That is guaranteed to create a shift. And if you're choosing in the direction of what you know is good for you, maybe because you've seen it in other people and you're like, of course that shifted for them because they made that change. It's also capable for you too. And like I said, there is a lot of personal strength that you gain or you become aware of, because you have it within you, to choose the better version for yourself, to choose to stay and face something, to choose to relax and trust. These sound good in the moment. In the moment you're experiencing it, feels hard. Feels like it might not be a safe choice. That's where the nervous system training comes in. That's where we need to train ourselves to stay relaxed in the face of something that normally could stress us out and even possibly trigger us. And when the trigger happens, when we go into fight or flight, all of those options are off the table, which is why, in order to make these radical conscious shifts, we must address our nervous system. And again, the Starlight Dream Lab will help you do that. I have a lot of tools on Insight Timer. Just this morning, right before I did these karma cards, I just had my emotional reset session. We spent 30 minutes working on our nervous system and our neuroplasticity and priming ourselves to stay in a grounded and open state, so that when we approach the next catalyst, we've trained ourselves to stay grounded rather than to get uprooted and pulled into stress and fear. We've learned how to reground ourselves. We've given ourselves the tools, and I would love to share those with you. So there's a lot of ways I can do that. There's Insight Timer, there's a Starlight Dream Lab, and then of course with the Epic Year, this is where radical shifts are called in. We create a map for them, right? So it's not just, oh, this is what I want, let's hope I get it. This is the North Star vision. This is how I embody it. This is how I train myself to hold it. This is the strategy for it that was developed through me, through my inner knowing, rather than just here's a system to follow, plug that in, and it's going to work. You have to put those two together, because you can. There's already systems out there. I am not giving people a strategy system that doesn't already exist. There are lots of strategy systems that exist, but if you don't have the grounding for your goal, those systems start to overwhelm you, because you're not dealing with what's happening first, which is, do I feel safe in this space or not? So the Epic Year, this year of integration, is all about helping you integrate that dream deep into yourself. So it's not outside of you. It's a North Star that glows from within. It's like a compass that points you in that direction. So if that sounds good to you and you'd like to join today, hopefully this will go out today, which is the 23rd on YouTube. If not the 23rd, the 24th, there is an early bird special that's active on the 24th, 23rd, 24th, and the 25th. It ends the evening of the 25th, and that gives you $100 off the full year of the Epic Year workshop. And for a full year, you get it at a great price. So you get the workshop support, you get live support, you get quarterly live check-ins, you get access to a private chat with me where you can ask me as many questions as you want, or If you need support, you can always ask there. You get email access to me, all of that good stuff, where I will be there with you so I can help remind you how to hold that energy, how to create that safety in the body, and guide you in directions that will help you do this from a place of, again, consciously choosing how you approach it versus feeling like you have to fit yourself into a system to make it happen. Because you can make your goal happen no matter what energy you're in. Like I said, most of my goal work is being done while I sleep. Sounds weird, huh? But it's really happening. It makes it so much easier that I'm not fighting it with my urge to just be busy and push, push, push. I know that patience is actually what moves me forward faster right now. And that's not every cycle. There's cycles where the pushing is actually the thing you do. But right now, for me, it's being with it, just holding it. And I can show you where you're at too. So if that sounds good, Epic Year Workshop 2026 is open for early bird enrollment. It's open through the 25th for the $100 off, and it will be open continuously after that. So if you'd like to join me, now is a great time to jump in. I'd love to have you there. And thank you so much for being part of this Karma Cards. I am sending you so much love. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Mwah. Talk about the Starlight Dream Lab, which is all about how to get your nervous system on board with you experiencing your big dream. So if you've ever felt resistance, like you're going after a goal, but your body's not on board because it doesn't feel safe, you feel more scared of going out of your comfort zone than you do stretching, then you need to teach your nervous system that your big dream is a safe space to be. And that's what the Starlight Dream Lab does. It teaches your nervous system that it is safe to experience your big dream, both emotionally and then physically as well. So if that sounds good to you, I have a free mini kit for you. You can go to the link below, click on that. It'll take you to the Starlight Dream Lab, and you can get started today, anchoring in calm and clarity and practicing for your big dream before you get there.